Welcome to my channel. It's MMA Elite, where we get the sports books beat. And today we finally have a good fight night card, man. The past few weeks it's been just nothing but crappy fight night cards. 304 was last weekend, and we did make some money on that one, as you can see right here and right here. So if you were in the Discord, you would have saw those picks. Speaking of Discord, if you're not in it, what are you doing, man? I got a full community, as you can see right here. We got a full community, as you can see right here, man, talking about the fights. What are good picks, what are bad picks, people's opinions on who they think is a better fighter, whatever, man. We're always talking about MMA in here, trying to get the best bang for your buck, trying to make that money. As you can see right here, I'll go ahead and show y'all what I hit for 304. So we went ahead and hit this one right here, Parkin Makai Pimlet, 3-leg right here. And then we also hit this 5-leg with Bilal. Thank God I hedged the main event because I had Leon winning. But I always hedge the main event for most of the time because, you know, the chances of you hitting are more likely. And yeah, Bilal with that plus 200 gave us quite the odd boost. But yeah, man, link in the description as always. And go ahead and like the video if you haven't already. It helps the channel grow a lot. And it takes only like 5 seconds for you. So yeah, go ahead and do that. Comment your opinions if you have any different opinions. And subscribe for me. But let's go ahead and get into it, man. Starting off the card, we got Dumas versus Denis Tuilian. Both these guys are absolute dog water. I remember seeing Dumas fight for the first time live in Jacksonville. That's my city. Dumas is also from Jacksonville. And yeah, I remember seeing him walk out, get in the cage versus Cory Sandhagen. Cory Sandhagen, absolute dog water. And Dumas did not impress me whatsoever. Both these guys were just barely throwing, barely, you know, fighting at all, and it was just kind of cringe to watch. I was like, is this UFC level worthy? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'd say it's not. Both these guys suck, and I do want to give Denis benefit of the doubt. He's 10-9, which is a crazy record. But look at the competition he's facing. They've been feeding him to the wolves. Duncan, Rodriguez, Park, all these guys are great fighters. Park submits everybody. Rodriguez and Duncan both knock out everybody they fight. And I do believe if Dumas fought these last 3 opponents that Denis fought, I believe he also would have lost to all 3 of them. But I do want to say Dumas does have some submission game in him. You know, he has 2 subs. I don't see Denis being able to knock out Dumas. I feel like this fight goes the distance. And Dumas is going to be my pick. But it's not a real confident one. I feel like Denis isn't terrible, but Denis is getting to that age. You know, he's been knocked out quite a few times, and I believe Dumas can get it done via decision or sub. Most likely by decision. Next, we got Herbert versus Rolando Bedoya. This is a good one, man. This one might be potentially fight of the night. There's another fight on this card that could potentially be fight of the night. I'll explain which one that will be a little bit later. But Herbert fought the best of the best, bro. They've been giving this guy literally the top like 10. As you can see, he got head kicked by Topuria, but he is also, I believe, the only one who has dropped Topuria. He beat Kyle Nelson in a unanimous decision. Went to got a draw with Klein, who's a great fighter. He's one of those great prospects. He's not even a prospect at this point. I feel like he's had quite a bit of fights in the UFC. And he lost to Ziam. He got outclassed by him all 3 rounds for the most part. But he's also fighting Bedoya, who is a prospect who's coming up, who's extremely tough. He was fighting at 170. Chaos Williams. I thought he won that fight. I feel like he landed more strikes in that fight, and he was taking some big shots. Also, Song Kanan. Bedoya is a high output fighter, right? And in the Song Kanan fight, he slowed down on the strikes because he was getting some big shots laying on him. These guys were too big for him, right? Bedoya's kind of a pudgy 170 pounder. And I believe this time he is going down in weight, so that is going to make a big difference. He's still going to have the high output. He's still going to have that tough warrior mentality. I feel like he'll still have that chin. I don't know if the weight cut is going to affect his chin at all. I don't think it will. And I believe Bedoya, as the underdog, has a good chance to win this fight just because his striking output, is 3 times Jai Herbert. Jai Herbert's likes to be patient a little bit. And it would be a shame to see Bedoya lose a 3rd one in a row. He just had they've been feeding him to the wolves, man. I don't get it. Some fighters get literally the easiest fight setup, like Umar, for example. He's fought bums all the way till now. And compared to Bedoya, his first fight was freaking Chaos Williams, second, Salkanon. These aren't the easiest fights in the world. But I do believe him moving down in weight will have a good advantage on him, and it will help him out. So I'm going with Bedoya on this one. Next, we got Guram versus Jordan Vucenic. This is gonna be a good one, man. A lot of people are hyped about Jordan. He's a really good prospect. He's over there in Cage Warriors submitting everybody, as you can see once I pull his resume up. Man, he likes to submit everybody. He's really tough. He has good striking. He also has been training Muay Thai, so his striking is not terrible. But they're feeding him to the wolves, man. They're giving him a very tough fight, Guram. Some people saying Guram's, got him fraud checked. But if we go back, if we look at his past fights, he beat Gamrot. That's saying a lot. Demir, he went to a split decision with him. Demir's also a very good fighter. And he lost to Brener. That Brener fight, it was very back and forth. Brener definitely won that first round. And the second round, I would give it to maybe Guram. In the third round, I feel like Guram was winning too, but he ended up getting caught by this one punch that stumbled him, and then Brener was able to capitalize on that. But Guram's just so tough. I like fighters that like to utilize the elbows a lot, and he's one of them. It's not going to be easy for Jordan. I'm going to have to go with Guram on this one. A lot of the times when prospects come into UFC, they don't do as good as people think they do. And I think Guram, the experience, the toughness from Guram, I believe he gets it done, man. Next, we got Battle of the Fatties. We got Gaziev versus Maez. After doing some tape study, we all know how Gaziev let everybody down because he gassed out in versus Rozenstruik. Rozenstruik has, I believe, right behind Derek Lewis, headlined the most main events or fight nights out of any heavyweight. He's a good fighter. Also, he had that experience. Gaziev wasn't used to fighting 5 rounds. That was his first time headlining a main event, and he gassed out. He didn't have that experience, but this is only a 3-round fight, and I believe Gaziev is a lot faster than Maez. After doing some tape study, Maez, he is slow, man. He's slow on the feet, and I can see Gaziev getting that first round KO, which is at plus 400, by the way. I don't think he's gonna. I don't know. I'm 50-50. He could get the first round KO, but I do see a finish for sure, whether it's a submission or a TKO KO. I do see Gaziev winning this, and I'm going to go ahead and say he's one of my locks. Next, we got Yahya versus Fernandes. I'm not going to go too much on this one, but Yahya, he hasn't had too much experience. Neither of these guys have too much experience in the UFC, but Yahya, honestly, he's pretty bad. He looked really bad in his last fight, and I really don't think there's too much that Yahya can offer to win this fight. Oh, and also before I do go ahead and continue, I am going to tell you that I'm not going to be betting on the Dumas fight. I'm not going to be betting on probably the Fernandes-Yahya fight. I just don't see minus 390 for Fernandes worthy of it. But yeah, Fernandes is going to be my pick. Next, another one of my locks, in my opinion, are confident picks. We got Azamat versus Menifield. I'm going with Azamat, and let me explain why. Both these guys have fought Dustin Jacoby, the kickboxer. Menifield, on one hand, he went to a close decision with him. Azamat, on the other hand, went to a decision as well, but it was pretty much complete domination the whole 3 rounds. Azamat dropped him like 2 or 3 times. Azamat's just quick. He has that power in his hands. He does get tired towards the end because he does throw with a lot of power, but he's definitely, in my opinion, the better striker versus Menifield. Menifield might be a little quicker, but he's just kind of sloppy. And, wow, Menifield does have a 5-inch reach advantage, but that shouldn't be a problem. I'm sure he did have the same disadvantage on a versus Jacoby. But yeah, Azamat is my pick for this card. Ooh, now this is 5 and 9 potential for sure, man. Joel Alvarez versus Elves Brener. I was going back and forth a lot of the time. Before tape study, I was like, I got Elves Brener. But after doing some tape study, man, I went back to Joel Alvarez as my pick. Reason being is because Alvarez's striking is underrated, man. For someone who only has 3 knockouts, this dude has some clean striking. He has that low calf kick that he likes to spam from a distance. He has that long reach. He has, as you can see, a 5-inch reach advantage. And for some reason, I always think Elves Brener is like a 135er. He just gives me that vibe. He looks short. He says he's 5'10". I thought he was like 5'8". But Alvarez is just also very good on the ground. As soon as you take him down, which Elves Brener is pretty good at, he's good at taking takedowns at. But Alvarez is too good on the ground. Both these guys are good at jiu-jitsu, but Alvarez is just on a whole nother level, man. Like, as soon as somebody's on top of him, he's using the elbows. He's another fighter that uses elbows a lot. He's using elbows. He's putting himself in positions, always looking for that position to get that submission. And he's good at keeping his distance as well. And sometimes I feel like Brener does struggle with that in his debut fight. I feel like he was struggling to keep his distance. And the fighter he was fighting wasn't even, nowhere to reach that Alvarez has. Elves Brener did, have that war with Guram. That was a great fight. But he got out-wrestled by Oralby. Alvarez isn't somebody who's actually going to, grapple you. He's only going to go to the ground, really, if you take him to the ground. But, yeah, I like Alvarez in this one. This is going to be a close one. I'm not going to say I'm super confident on this one. Maybe a 6 out of 10 on the confidence level. But, yeah, Alvarez is my pick. Next, we got Ferguson versus Chiesa, man. I want to have faith in Ferguson. It's got to be his last fight before he retires. I mean, if he wins, he's probably still going to keep fighting. But Ferguson, I'm going to place a bet on Ferguson to win because at plus 450 odds versus Chiesa, who's a minus 725, which is crazy. It's worth a gamble. But, I'm going to have to go with Michael Chiesa on this one. Ferguson is just washed up, and it's just going to be hard for him to beat somebody. Michael Chiesa isn't the worst person in the world, but he's also not the best fighter in the world. So Chiesa should be able to get it done, but I'm going to avoid betting on Chiesa just because those odds are ridiculous, and it's not worth putting in your parlay if you are going to bet on that fight. Like I said, I am going to place like a $10 bet on Ferguson, put him in like a parlay, small parlay, just because of those odds. But other than that, I'm not going to bet on that fight. Next, we got Cheeto versus Figgy. Cheeto, I feel like he is going to have that weight advantage. He is naturally the bigger guy. Also, I feel like his striking is a little better than Figuerido's, but I don't think that's going to be Figgy's game plan. I saw he's been with Khabib. He's been training with Khabib a little bit, and he's going to be grappling. That's going to be his game plan, and as he should, because Figgy's pretty good at grappling. He's good at submissions, and for that reason, I am going to be betting and going with Figgy. I got him at like a minus 180. Now he's a minus 150. I wish I got him now, but you never know. The odds sometimes go up, sometimes they go down, but a lot of times the odds do increase. So, so I got some other fighters with lower odds, so I'm not complaining. Figgy's my pick for that one. Next, we got Shara versus Michal. Shara is very overrated in my opinion. I feel like he's kind of one-dimensional. He just spams his leg kicks. He loves his leg kicks. and his hands aren't like the best thing in the world, but they are feeding him like a lower tier fighter, Machal. He's not terrible, but you know, he just got submitted not too long ago by Kevin Holland in round 1. I'm going to go with Shara on this one, but let me tell you, as soon as Shara fights a little bit of a step up in competition, I'm betting against Shara, and I'm putting the house on it, because Shara, he's very one-dimensional. I don't think we've ever seen him grapple. For someone who's from Russia, I don't know if he's from Dagestan, but from Russia, and he doesn't know really how to grapple, man, he's a fraud. Give me Shara for this one. Not a confident pick because I really don't like him, but that's who I'm going with. And for the main event of the evening, we got Cory Sandhagen versus Umar Nurmagomedov. I'm going to start off by saying I did hedge this fight, so I have a parlay with one with Cory and one with Umar. You know, that did save me for last UFC 304, so I will be doing it again this time, just because. The reason why is because if Umar is going to lose a fight, it's going to be this one. The reason why is because he's fought straight bums for the past 5 cards in his UFC career. And he's going from here all the way up here in the level of competition. And Cory's great at striking. He has good grappling. And Cory's been studying this fight for a while. He's been expecting to fight Umar, and he's one of the few that wanted to accept the fight versus him. He wanted to challenge himself, and he believes he can finish or beat Umar. And also, Cory does have that 5-round experience. He's fought 5 rounds multiple times. Umar has not, and I could possibly see Umar getting tired in round 4 or 5 from all the grappling that he's going to be doing. But on the other hand, we have Umar. Amazing grappling. Good striking as well. This is like Cory said, it's going to be like a kung fu battle. Who's the better kung fuer? It's hard to bet against a Nurmagomedov. It's just hard. Like, they're too good. They're just too good on the ground. And I feel like Umar, he is going to be the one to win the fight. But just in case, I did make that bet with Cory just in case he surprises the world. He's a very well-rounded fighter as well, and these are 2 of the most well-rounded fighters in the division going at it. This should be a banger, and I'm excited to see how this goes. You know, the only reason why I want Cory to win is because the payout is higher. That's the only reason. But I would love to see Umar keep his 0 and keep building his legacy. But on that note, that's going to be it for this video, man. If you haven't already, join the Discord, man. Completely 100% free, man. I'm always giving out my picks in here. We're always talking about, you know, who the best fighter is, opinions on certain fighters, on certain fights. Go ahead, man. Always in the link in the description. Go ahead and join that for me. Go ahead and follow my Twitter as well. Super active on there. That's probably the most active platform I am on. And trying to get 100 followers. I'm 3 followers away, so go ahead and follow me if you haven't already. But yeah, on that note, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.